is up, all you slashaholics? I am Slash Sister Hallie.
And I am Slash Sister Jen. And we want to welcome you back to your favorite channel for horror movie reviews by true horror movie fans.
Damn Skippy.
That's right.
And hey, if this is your first time here, make sure you slash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on all the fun horror-related things that we are going to do on this channel.
And there's always something that we're doing, for sure.
I mean, you know, we have guests on here. We do all kinds of crazy
rankings.
shit.
We're going to do some more trivia where Amy tries to stump us again. We got a lot of good reception from that. A lot of people thought it was really fun.
Yep.
So, in our ever-present quest to complete franchises. This isn't really a franchise, although there is talk of a third movie.
Well, they've
been talking about a third movie for a long time.
They did do an animated series that was just about the Mogwai.
Right.
That was on HBO Max. It's kind of interesting.
I haven't watched it.
It goes into more lore about the Mogwai.
Okay, that's cool.
So, if you get a chance, check that out. It's a good companion to these films, really. But what are we talking about with Mogwais and
obviously this little cutie patootie. We're talking about Gremlins 2, y'all.
The new batch.
That's right.
And boy, do they batch a lot of them in this one.
All right, look, Rick Baker went fucking overboard for this, but in the best way.
To give you context on this, Rob Bottin and somebody else were the original creators of the Gremlins puppets and stuff like that in the first one.
Yep.
In that 6-year gap between 84 to 90, animatronics leaped forward.
Amazing.
Like just
insane.
Off the charts, leaping forward with what they can do, the size.
I mean, we get to see Gizmo literally like dancing and walking around, and not just from the chest up, you know.
So like Rick Baker was approached to take over from Rob Bottin because Rob Bottin was busy doing something else at the time.
Yes, right.
He could not come back and do this. Rick Baker was hesitant to do it until
he doesn't like working on something that he didn't create to start with. Yeah.
So, in order to entice him, I guess, they allowed him almost full creativity on the mutated gremlins in this.
Yeah, basically they were like, you can create whatever you want.
Right.
Because, let's talk about this. Why did it take 6 years for us to get a sequel from Gremlins?
Joe Dante did not want to do a sequel because he thought the first one was too perfect the way it was and didn't want to touch it.
It ended perfectly. Why do we need to go any further? But the studio saw them dollar signs and literally like begged and begged and begged. And ultimately what happened is Joe Dante was given complete creative control. That doesn't happen with directors.
No, and I think he also got 15% of the residuals on the back end, too.
Yep.
Or something to that effect.
And he got, like, a monstrous budget. Like, 5 times the budget of the first film.
Right.
Like,
now, all of that being said, did this film do as well as the first one?
Not even close.
Not really, because they waited too long to capitalize on it.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But I personally like this one better than the first one.
It's
funnier.
It's just
There's
more. It's just more. It's
horror,
more in general.
Yeah, it is. There's more references. The puppeteering and the prosthetics work and the creature designs are just incredible. Like, it's a fucking great movie.
And we get tons of horror icon cameos in this,
For sure. And it's... Honestly, this movie was fucking meta before meta was even really a thing. Like,
well, I mean, so was Friday 6.
Sure.
That was pretty meta.
Sure.
I mean,
it was just starting to... It was before Scream put meta on the mark.
Right.
So this was... But this one, I think this is more meta than Scream.
Honestly, it kind of is.
Based
solely on the fact, and I find this hilarious, Gizmo sees John Astin as a janitor.
And calls him Gomez.
Because John Astin played Gomez Addams in the 1960s Addams Family.
You guys, this movie is nuts.
He also sees another actor and calls him by a character that he played in something too.
Really?
Yeah, I cannot remember for the life of me what it was.
Yeah.
But...
Anyway, so let's jump into this bonkers-ass movie. How about we do it?
I mean, so we start this film off in the only way that you can start off this film, with a cartoon.
Why not?
Bugs and Daffy fighting over who's going to ride the Warner Brothers logo in.
Yep.
At the very beginning of this, letting you know right away that this is not your ordinary horror film.
No, we're in for a silly goose time.
Yeah,
Ain't nothing wrong with being a silly goose. I love being a silly goose.
Right.
So we start our story with good old Mr. Wing and our little guy Gizmo. We don't get to see Gizmo. He's like in a cage and covered up. But we know he's there because his hand kind of reaches out. In fact, he grabs the remote and starts watching TV at some point.
After the TV gets dropped off.
Right.
Because
So they are getting a visit from Mr. Forster, who is basically like the head of security.
Robert Picardo.
Yeah.
I love him. He's so good.
He's hilarious in this movie.
He's hilarious in the vast majority.
What I was going to say is, like, he is just a fantastic actor.
Right. I first discovered him in, I'm a Trekkie, Star Trek Voyager.
Okay.
He was the holographic doctor on Star Trek Voyager, and the whole thing with that show is they got slingshotted across the universe and were forced to come back the long way.
Okay.
Which took them years to do. So they didn't have a medical doctor, and he was forced to be
Got
a
it.
full-time medical doctor
That
on the
makes
ship.
sense.
But he was like you think like Bones was funny in the original series.
Yeah.
This guy was even funnier. I love him in everything he does.
Yeah,
seriously.
he's great. He's a really good actor. But so Mr. Forster shows up with a videotape from Daniel Clamp, who is
played by another great actor of John Glover.
Yes, yeah, I was going to say, I know his name, I just couldn't think of it right off the top of my head. But he is attempting to purchase Mr. Wing's business.
I develop the biggest buildings in New York.
He's the last one on the street holding out.
Yep.
Kind of like Carl and Up.
Yeah. But what they want to do is basically tear it down so they can build a new Chinatown.
Yeah. What's wrong with the old one, asshats?
Apparently a lot. It's not automated, you know?
Flash forward to 6 weeks later, we find out that Mr. Wing has died.
He did.
The death of Mr. Wing removes the last obstacle to developer Daniel Clamp's long-delayed Chinatown project.
Off screen.
Mr. Forrester knew it was going to happen.
Oh yeah, he says it's only a matter of time.
Right,
He's practically dead already.
And the Clamp people just tear the building down with Gizmo in it.
Yeah, and of course
Sorry,
Gizmo goes running out of the building, but is immediately captured by twin scientists from the Splice of Life genetic engineering lab that is at Clamp Center. Yeah. Splice of Life, I love that name.
What type of fucking TV?
I don't know, we could have had a fucking plastic surgeon.
And right.
2 acupuncturists and a psychiatrist. But no, we gotta have the Splice of Life genetics facility instead.
That was actually a line that Mr. Clamp says to
later in the movie.
Billy, I think.
Or maybe even it might have been
Forrester or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that happens.
Yeah. Yep.
Next, we see our friend from the first movie, Mr. Billy Peltzer.
Yeah.
He was just kind of rattled.
Well, I guess having a bunch of little monsters drive a snowplow through your living room could kind of do that to you.
Well, he was almost killed.
I can't remember his name. Zach something.
Galligan, I think?
Yeah, that sounds about right. He is the concept artist for the Clamp Corporation and works in Clamp Center, a state-of-the-art... almost fully automated.
Supposed to be.
Right.
Not very well functioning.
Building in Manhattan, owned by the eccentric billionaire Donald Clamp. Initially, Donald Clamp was supposed to be...
Daniel Clamp.
Yeah.
She keeps calling him Donald. There's a reason for that.
A Freudian slip.
Yes.
He was initially supposed to be portrayed like Donald Trump.
And as the villain in the movie, but he became really likable and they couldn't make him the villain.
It's because... At his core, at the character's core, he wanted to do good.
Yes.
He was just going about it the wrong way.
Yes. The way that this character is portrayed is very childlike. Like a childlike billionaire.
Yeah, pretty much.
So this was and I would say this, like, Donald Trump is not childlike, but this is a direct reference.
Maybe in the 90s he was.
Maybe. This is a direct reference to Donald Trump, who in 1990 was a real estate developer and had built Trump Tower in a similar fashion to what we see as Clamp Center. It's supposed to be state-of-the-art. And it's very similar in the way that Trump decorated everything in gold. Still continues to. Mr. Clamp has decorated everything in like platinum and silver, so
Yeah.
it is a direct
It's supposed to be
reference.
like
It's supposed
futuristic and everything like
right,
that.
Which, Mr. Clamp is basically a caricature of Trump.
Right. I'm glad that they made it like the silver and platinum tones as opposed to gold, because gold to me screams 80s and very dated.
For sure.
But
for sure.
But like the
Silver
silver
seems
sleek,
futuristic.
it's sleek
Yeah.
and futuristic.
Yeah, for
exactly.
sure. For sure.
Right. And that is all we were going to say about Trump, because we're not trying to get fucking canceled.
Nope, we're not. We don't have anything to say about that, just that this
Yep.
character was based off of him.
Yeah.
At least based off of him
At
in
that
the
time.
90s.
At that time.
What we've got now is not the same thing at all.
Nope.
Those are two different people.
The twins that captured Gizmo are subjecting him to all kinds of tests, and they show him to their chief researcher, Dr. Cushing Catheter.
Yes, what a fucking name.
Right.
The first name. Oh, yeah. Who is he? Who is he, Hallie?
Played by the incomparable, wonderful genre favorite, Sir Christopher Lee. The late, great Sir Christopher Lee.
The first name, Cushing, is
Peter
Peter Cushing, who was his constant nemesis.
Right, he played Van Helsing in the
Hammer
films.
Dracula films. So, yeah, I mean, this is very referenced. Lots of references here. After Billy, we gotta do a little something here. After Billy hears the mail courier whistling this song. Isn't he cute? He's so goddamn cute. I can't help it. I'm gonna turn him off because he'll just keep going and going. So we're gonna turn him off. But isn't he adorable? Anyways, he hears the mail courier humming Gizmo's song and finds out that Gizmo is in the laboratory. You know who plays the mail courier?
Raymond Cruz.
Yeah. Who is from Breaking Bad. He's also been in a lot of other things
Bad.
as well.
He played Jesus and From Dusk Till Dawn 2 with Robert Patrick. He's done a lot of stuff over the years.
Yeah, but for me, I recognized him and was like, oh, that's Tuco from Breaking Bad.
Yeah. Billy breaks into the laboratory, sort of. He sneaks his way in saying that, there's a copier broken, and the receptionist, who is a character actor.
Yeah, she was on SNL for a little while, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Didn't she play Pat?
I think she did. But she's like sick with everything.
Yeah, she's like coughing,
like
sneezing.
And she's like, is it really? Well, just go ahead and go back there and take care of it, please. Yeah. And he gets in there and finds Gizmo and releases him and puts him in a toolbox and carries him out.
Yep.
But not before releasing some monkeys.
Yeah. That's okay. What do you need monkeys for? You're about to have a whole house full of gizmos.
It was to distract from him sneaking out with Gizmo.
Yeah, for sure. Clancy, at this point, comes to the floor.
Gizmo is put in Billy's drawer to hide him because Mr. Clamp is coming in and he's never been on this floor before.
Yeah. Never been around here before.
Right.
He's so innocent, poor guy.
Look at the kids with the kites. That's warmth. I like warmth.
So, Clamp...
what you just said reminded me of Bruce Wayne from the 1989 Batman film when he's sitting down having dinner with Vicky Vale.
Do you like eating in here?
Oh, yeah. You want to know the truth? I don't think I've ever been in this room before.
So funny.
That honestly,
literally.
Which funnily enough, John Glover has a tie to that series as well.
He does.
He played a doctor in Batman and Robin.
Okay. The George Clooney one?
Yeah, the George Clooney one. He was a doctor at the same facility that Pamela Isley, who becomes Poison Ivy, is.
Okay.
He gets the character name that I can't remember the character's name, but he's supposed to end up becoming like a Swamp Thing type creature.
Oh, that's cool.
And they never show it.
Yeah.
But, and he also was Lionel Luthor in Smallville.
Oh, that's fun.
And the Riddler in the Batman animated series.
All right.
I'm a comic book nerd. I'm sorry.
He's got a good face for all of those characters, honestly. He's really got a very expressive face.
He does.
So Clamp then, now on Billy's floor, sees Billy's drawings of Chinatown and is absolutely over the moon about his art. All the while, Gizmo is just hanging out in the drawer, which is an automatic drawer.
Oh, that's what he tells them. Because everything else is fucking automated, and mind you...
And he's like, interesting.
And mind you, he buys it.
Yeah.
Because everything else is fucking automated,
Yeah.
and he doesn't know what's working in his building or not.
Yeah, nothing.
So you say that he was enamored with the art. He tells him to take the
Get rid of the elm trees.
The elm trees. Yeah. Or no.
I think it's elms.
No, it was something else. It was something else that created a disease.
Well, so she was is it an ash tree? Anyway, his boss was the one who told him to add
put the
those
trees
in, and then Clamp's like, yeah, take those out. That's
yeah, right. Should have listened to Billy, bitch.
You know?
The attention from Clamp makes Billy's manager, Marla Bloodstone, particularly fall over herself to take Billy to dinner.
Ugh, Marla.
I hate her fucking accent.
I was literally just gonna say I fucking love her accent.
So annoying.
It's not real.
But no, I know.
It's so funny and over the top.
It's over the top Manhattan, New Yorker accent that is just...
It's so great. I love it. Billy then tells Kate that she needs to get Gizmo and take him home, and Kate, of course, freaks the fuck out. She's like, that furry thing! She's like, she clearly has PTSD from what happened in the last
Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That furry thing?
Yep.
Even 6 years later, and then you find out, oh god, it can happen again?
It's back?
Right.
And Billy's just so nonchalant about it too. He's like, yeah, Gizmo. What?
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
Yeah, as long as you follow the 3 rules,
yeah.
Which, what are the 3 rules, Jenny?
Don't get him wet.
Don't get him wet.
Don't feed him after midnight.
Don't feed him after midnight.
And don't put them in bright lights.
They don't like bright lights.
No.
Now, it's actually funny that we have to go over these rules again, because they even, in-universe, in this film, talk about...
He's explaining it to the security guards later in the film.
Right.
Like, these are the rules, and the security guards are like...
What if one of them eats something at 11 o'clock, but then he gets something stuck in his teeth?
What if they're eating in an airplane and they cross a time zone? I mean, it's always midnight somewhere.
Anyway, while Gizmo is hanging out in Billy's cubicle, a janitor walks through, played by Gomez Addams, John Astin himself.
Yes. While Gomez tries to fix the broken drinking fountain that keeps... that is the most powerful drinking fountain. I don't think I've ever seen water shoot like that before. Mm-hmm. But Gizmo accidentally gets wet and spawns 4 new Mogwais.
The water keeps getting closer and closer to him.
And he keeps trying to hide from it. He knows that he's not supposed to get wet.
Right. So he hides under Billy's desk, and the water hits the drawing table, comes down into the tray where the pencil thing, and it drips down on top of his head.
Poor little guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we get 4 new Mogwai that spawn from that.
Gizmo doesn't try to get away here. I see that's what you typed. They actually force his ass into the air ducts.
Yeah.
Because they know that he would stop them if he got any chance.
Mm-hmm.
So they stuff his ass in the fucking air ducts. And meanwhile, the new Mogwai get to eating, which turns them into... gremlins.
But not before Kate can go and accidentally take the wrong Mogwai home back to their apartment.
Daffy. That's that one's name.
That is Daffy, which I assume has to be a direct reference to
Daffy Duck. Oh, no,
sure.
100%. I do also want to take this time to point out that we did get Howie Mandel back as the voice of Gizmo.
Mm-hmm.
And even though this is a new character for this film, it's not Spike this time, it's Mohawk.
Which, it's basically the same character.
It's basically the same character.
Yeah.
Frank Welker is back voicing him.
He voiced a couple of other ones too, I think, too.
He did a lot of the vocalizations for a lot of the Gremlins, but they had other, specifically with Brain.
Yeah.
Right. But they had other voice actors doing lines and stuff for them. But the 2 big ones are obviously Howie Mandel and Frank Welker.
Yeah. Yep.
So I just, because they're prolific, we need to point that out.
Yeah, so Kate does go to Billy's cubicle. He doesn't really have an office, it's a cubicle. And gets
the wrong one.
The wrong Mogwai and takes Daffy home.
Yep. She takes the wrong one home, as we just said, and then Billy gets home to a complete mess, since Daffy has been throwing food and making messes all over their apartment.
Yep. And right then, the fucking Futtermans show up for their visit to New York.
Yes.
Surprise!
But they knew they were coming.
They did know they were coming.
They just came a day early because
forgot. Yeah.
Mr. Futterman's platoon decided to move up the day of their reunion.
That's right. Yeah.
Do you know they got Russian guys driving cabs in this burg?
Billy convinces them to go get a hotel for the night because their apartment's being fumigated.
That's right.
Renovated, fumigated.
That's right. Yeah.
Fumigated, renovated. Whatever.
One of those.
Because Billy and Kate are both trying to come up with an excuse.
Right? Yeah.
And he and Kate head back to the Clamp Tower to find the real Gizmo.
Yeah. So back to Gizmo. He is now in the air vents, but he ends up getting captured by Mohawk, which is, as we said earlier, basically the same exact character as Strike from the first one, but is subsequently tortured, like, relentlessly. He puts him in a photocopier and makes copies of his face.
So earlier we said something about Gizmo getting hold of a remote control.
Yeah.
After Forrester drops the TV off at Mr. Wing's.
Yeah. And what movies he be watching?
Rambo 2,
baby!
Rambo 2, or Rambo First Blood Part 2 is actually the thing.
Yes.
Do you know why that movie was chosen?
Oh, shoot, I read this somewhere, but I don't remember now.
The composer of this film, Jerry Goldsmith, also composed the Rambo films.
Well, that makes sense. You know what's funny? It's just occurring to me right now that we did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 2 weeks ago. And, it came out...
It was more than 2 weeks ago.
Was it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, like 3 weeks ago. Anyways, my brain's all messed up. So, in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, Chop Top has a line where he's asking Stretch, "Oh, was that the soundtrack to Rambo 3? Rambo 3 wasn't out when he made that reference." But there he goes, referencing Rambo. So, anyway.
So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it will come into play later.
Yes.
In fact, there's actually a specific line that Rambo says, something about, "You want war, I'll bring you war," or something to that effect.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, he ends up getting just tortured, run over by like a toy train.
Yeah, like time to the tracks and everything like that.
All kinds of silly stuff.
The other gremlins set off the fire sprinklers to spawn an army of gremlins. This begins the most insane set of events put to film.
It's shit just gets fucking wild.
Like I said at the end of our last video describing this coming up. This is a live action cartoon.
It is.
Like,
it really is.
So
the
cartoonish.
thing is that like the puppet work, the creature designs.
Oh god, just
fucking fantastic. Like literally they're hand painting and sculpting things that are only in the movie for like a few seconds because they had a massive budget and
that's what Rick Baker be doing.
Yep, and Rick Baker basically went to Joe Dante and was like. Or Joe Dante came to Rick Baker. Either way, they were basically like, "What are we gonna do with them today? Like, let's make them do this. Let's make them do that." Like, they were just having an absolute fucking blast with these gremlins. So back to the Slice of Life genetics lab, the gremlins break in and wreak havoc on the lab.
Before they do, though, Christopher Lee's character, Cushing Catheter, walks in carrying a giant...
A pod from the
Invasion of the
Body Snatchers, yeah.
What on earth is going on?
Reference. Just references. All the time.
Galore.
Also, do you want diseases? I can get you some diseases if you want.
Right.
I got a kid sick at home right now. He can get you real sick.
I'm good. I'm good.
So yeah, they wreak havoc on the lab and start drinking potions and stuff. This results in Brain Gremlin, who can now talk and is smart, which is proven by his smart guy glasses.
I wanna talk a little bit about what's going on in this room, because I think there are some fascinating ramifications here for the future.
So the gremlins can talk.
But it's not.
They can string together
super
words.
articulate.
This one is articulate to the nth degree.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he sounds like a fucking philosopher.
He's smart.
We also get Vegetable Gremlin, Bat Gremlin.
Bat Gremlin is just one of the regular gremlins. I was going to say Mohawk Gremlin turns into something else later.
He turns into
Spider Gremlin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Phantom Gremlin.
Which is hilarious. He's all burnt on one side of his face, and then he holds the mask up.
Which they actually do a shot-for-shot remake of the reveal from Phantom of the Opera.
So cool.
And our first ever female gremlin, Greta, because she took a gender swapping fluid.
Yeah, and now we got a girl gremlin.
Yep. Long legs and luscious,
big fat red lips.
Just a whole mess of weirdly fucking spliced gremlins.
Yes,
for
sure.
I do love that when the Bat Gremlin comes into being, and then the brain gives him like the instant UV block.
Yeah, he like injects him with like basically like sunscreen.
Yeah, it rewrites his genetic code.
Yeah, so he can now be out in the sun.
And he breaks through a wall and flies out. But what is left behind when he does so? I don't know. Batman's love.
Oh, that's right! Good thing they got Warner Brothers on this, huh?
That's the whole reason why they were going to do that. Because 1989 Batman just came out a year before this film. Actually, I think it was about 7 months before this film hit theaters.
Yeah,
so.
that's fucking hilarious.
Right. I love it.
But yeah, we get... We'll talk about this later, but we also get from this whole laboratory spider gremlin, which we're going to get into that later.
And one of the gremlins gets turned into pure electricity, which they used hand-drawn animation to...
Did they really? That's fucking rad.
Eliminate him and make him bounce around the screen.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And he kills Dr. Catheter before Billy is able to trap him in the building's phone system, because that's how electricity works.
Sure it does.
I mean, it was a video phone, but still.
Right, because
he held out like a receiver and sucked him into it.
Into the building.
Which will come into play later.
Sure will. Brain Gremlin then, we said injects Bat Gremlin with the sunscreen stuff, and this, after he flies out of the lab, he flies straight to the Futtermans and attacks Murray. And Murray, in his PTSD state, covers him in cement.
He throws him into a puddle of cement that's being poured
wet,
for a sidewalk.
Yeah, and then pulls the cement thing around and covers him in cement.
But he gets up and flies off. Lands on a cathedral, and hardens instantly as a
gargoyle. We got a gremlin gargoyle.
Yep.
You know what? Someday I'm going to buy my own house. Someday, hopefully in the next few years. And I need to have a goddamn gremlin gargoyle on the outside of my house, okay? I got 3 years to plan it. I can make it happen.
Oh, God. We were telling you, this movie just goes off the fucking rails right here, right?
The Gremlins then make their way to Clamp TV Network and making their way through different shows.
Right. So, in one of the shows is Microwave with Marge. Basically,
she's a fucking drunk.
No, she totally is. She totally is.
She's like, oh, just put a little splash in there and then a lot for me.
But any recipe that you can come up with, she will find a way to make it into a microwave.
Yep.
There's also a cameo from Joe Dante. He's the director telling her, just go with it, Marge, or whatever.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. But yeah, we basically get a remake of the kitchen scene from the first movie, in a sense. And the Gremlins even have this weird memory about the microwave, right? Starts, because one of them got microwaved in the first one, and starts having his own Gremlin PTSD about the microwave. This movie's fucking nuts, you guys. Fucking nuts. They then attack Leonard Maltin, who is doing a review.
What's fun about a movie full of ugly, slimy, mean-spirited, gloppy little monsters who run amok and attack innocent people?
For Gremlins, the first movie, making a super meta moment because the first movie now exists within the second movie.
Then it gets even worse as the movie goes completely off the reels.
Reels, literally off the reels. Not the rails, the reels.
It burns the film, right? Because now the movie becomes a movie within a movie within a movie.
and gets super extra meta.
We see a theater where a projectionist runs down from the booth and says, "That's it, I'm done. They don't want to watch anything but Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs." Which is
what they watched in the theater in the first movie.
Exactly, right.
I can't believe this. I mean, this is worse than the first one.
To which the manager of the theater runs into said theater, finds a person sitting down and asks for his help.
Who the fuck is it?
Hulk motherfucking Hogan.
Okay, you guys, listen up. People paid good money to see this movie.
He yells at the gremlins that all people want is hot popcorn and cold soda.
And to watch this damn movie. Now you better knock it off.
And the movie resumes.
Yep, this movie's fucking bonkers. We finally just, this movie's wild.
Then we finally get back to the movie and things even get more wild somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but...
I don't know either. But we get everything from an attack on the salad bar, which features fucking Dick Butkus and somebody else from Bears.
Yeah.
I can't remember who else it was. Bubba Smith? Maybe? I don't remember. Anyways, we get an attack on a salad bar. We get a fucking musical number featuring Greta Gremlin.
Well, the musical number is actually
it does happen a little bit later,
by the brain.
Yes, because it's New York, New York. Right. But it ends with Greta in all her glory. Oh my god.
At some point, Billy gets to the security office and tries to explain to them all of the rules. He actually gets arrested at one point because he tries to turn off the water.
Right.
He gets arrested, spends at least 6 hours in jail.
Yeah.
Kate bails him out in the morning.
Yeah.
And then they come back.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. But then they come back to the building, gets to the security office, and tries to tell them the rules.
And they all basically just make fun of him because they don't believe him.
And this is where we get that dialogue about, well, what happens if they cross the time zones? And it turns out
it's midnight somewhere.
Right.
It's midnight everywhere.
Where the characters are mocking the rules and pointing out all the obvious fucking flaws.
Yeah. That's probably one of the most meta moments of the whole movie.
I would
say so.
But
then one of the security guards is attacked by a gremlin who jumps out of the fucking, board that they have, like the switchboard or whatever, and just attacks them. So, you can't deny it now. Here they are.
Next, we were introduced,
he was introduced earlier.
Right.
But just quickly.
Grandpa Fred, played by Robert Portsky, who's been on this channel at least once before.
Yep, and Christine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who is playing Dracula. He's clearly a reference to Al Lewis from The Munsters.
Yeah.
Who
did
actually
a stint
hosted
as a horror host.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Is left as one of the only humans left in the building and recruits Long Duck Dong.
That's not his real name in this movie, but that's his name in 16 Candles, so that's what I put in here, because it's funny. Sorry.
To film him so he can go live from inside the building delivering the news.
I want to know what happened. What's his name? Getty Watanabe? Is that it? That plays Long Duck Dong and plays, I can't even remember, Mr. Kajutsi or something like that?
Yeah.
This character is, such a caricature of, Japanese tourists in the 90s.
No, 100%. With all the different
to the point
cameras
where it's,
that
almost
he has.
painful.
Right.
It's ugly.
This type of thing would not happen in a film today.
Oh,
it
no
could
fucking
only
way.
happen back when this film was made in the 80s,
And
90s.
it's very satire. It
Oh,
is
yeah,
it is
100%,
intentional
100%.
for sure. But yeah, he's got all the cameras, and he...
Can you work a TV camera?
Work a camera? I am the camera!
I mean, he literally had 5 or 6 different types of cameras on him.
Yes. So, after Mr. Clamp's receptionist disappears and is replaced by a gremlin, who he forces into a paper shredder and almost gets himself caught up with his tie.
I thought for sure. The first time I watched this, I thought that tie was going in that
he's gone. He's gone. He's gonna get choked out. He's dead. But he is fully on board with getting rid of these things. And yeah.
We hope you have enjoyed our programming, but more importantly, we hope you have enjoyed life.
Forster, Billy, and Clamp come up with a plan.
Yeah, it's a plan, that's for sure. So since the entire building is completely automated, they decide that they're going to set all the clocks in the building 4 hours ahead.
Which is great if the clocks are fucking digital.
Yeah, one of them was an actual
dial clock.
And it moved when they were doing it.
Exactly.
Okay.
They also, and this is where Clamp comes in,
Yeah.
because he uses his secret escape hatch. This guy's like fucking Bruce Wayne, I'm telling you.
He's something.
And he comes up
So
out
I guess,
of
like, he was not just a reference to Trump, but also to Ted Turner.
Yeah, no.
Who, like
ran a TV company.
He ran a TV company, changed all the... They say earlier in the movie, when Fred is talking about Clamp and how he won't let him show any movies that are in black and white, like, Ted Turner was infamous for turning black and white movies to color movies and putting them on the TCM network. So... I mean, come on.
Anyway, Clamp uses his escape hatch, goes outside, convinces the authorities that are outside to this completely ludicrous fucking plan of dropping this giant night sky backdrop in front of the doors to the lobby, because that's the only way out of the goddamn building.
I guess. Except for that escape tunnel, apparently.
That's not how buildings work. No, that's not how code regulations work. You need to have multiple exits, especially for a building that fucking size with that many people.
Yeah, that's just spelling disaster.
But anyway, they do that to try to trick the gremlins into thinking that it's dark time, so they can come outside, drop the backdrop, and the sunlight will melt them all into a pile of goo.
Yep, that's the plan. That is the plan. So he exits the building through his secret little fucking tube and goes out onto the street, and then Billy and Kate set everything else up inside to try and...
Just as they're preparing to drop the cloth, well, actually, they're waiting for the gremlins to exit to drop the cloth.
Yes.
What happens in every good horror film?
A giant thunderstorm rolls in and foils the plan.
Can't have a horror film without a fucking thunderstorm.
That's right. That's right.
You really can't.
It's what brought Jason back. Anyways.
I mean, you're not wrong, but you're not right.
Meanwhile, out on the street, Murray Futterman sees the tube that fucking Clamp came up from the ground in and decides he's going to go into the building and just hops right in that tube and goes back.
I love how he knew that it would actually go back the way it came.
I mean, movie magic, right?
Right. At some point, Forrester is chased off by Greta. This is after the musical number.
Yep.
The musical number, like we said, is performed by the Brain, New York, New York. And this scene with the gremlins... with
These strange creatures now appear to be mounting what seems to be a musical number.
With the boards, they all are... You can see the hinges.
Yeah, yeah.
The gremlins all bend over and a board pops up, and then it's Greta's face, and then one of her eyes opens in a swirl, and she comes up out of it and is like doing like the Rockettes number or something like that.
It's fucking great, dude.
But anyway, she gets Forrester alone and decides to
yeah. We'll get back to that later, because that's how we end the film, really.
Right. And Kate and Marla are attacked by Mohawk, a.k.a. Spider Gremlin.
Yeah.
Who has now been transformed into a giant half spider, half gremlin.
But this is, like, direct reference to the Thing, right? I mean, it comes up in the shadow. He's, like, walking like the Thing, spider thing, sort of. You know, it's absolutely a reference to the Thing, for sure.
Right. Meanwhile, all of that's happening, Gizmo has freed himself from the train tracks and remembers that scene from Rambo earlier and decides to warrior up.
Yep, he wraps a little red headband around his head. He builds out of like paper clips and pencils and a whiteout bottle. Mm-hmm. He builds a fucking bow and arrow that he lights on fire. Yeah. Right. I mean, this is like Gizmo's awesome. Go Gizmo! But yeah,
he even has this like whole like Rocky training montage.
Yeah, where he's like lifting weights and
punching
shit.
bags.
So great. So he saves them by killing Mohawk Spider Gremlin with an ignited bottle of whiteout. Very Rambo of him.
Because whiteout is flammable.
It is. Weird fucking movie, man. In the best way. It's almost like when he comes out and they show him at first, for me, because child of the 80s and obsessed with Goonies, I got absolute like Goonies vibes. Mm-hmm. Like Chunk and fucking Sloth being, hey, you guys! But that's not what we got. We got Rambo. And that's fine, too.
Okay, so, as we said earlier, the thunderstorm rolls in and fucks their plan up to drop
So now we gotta come up with another plan.
Right. Billy then comes up with a plan. He tells Murray to spray the hose over the gremlins, and Murray's like, what?
Yeah, like, isn't that gonna make it worse?
Right. He's like,
we were not supposed to get them wet.
Trust me. He then asks Kate to, if she can transfer a call from Clamp's office down to the lobby. She's like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
And then he looks to Marla and tells Marla just to continue to smoke, because that's about all she's fucking good for.
Marla, smoke.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, she could set off the fire alarms, I guess, maybe with the smoke. Who knows? But either way. So then Billy uses the phone, which has the trapped electric gremlin inside of it, and shoots the gremlin out into the wet gremlins, electrocuting them all through the phone. Because that makes sense. That's how electricity works.
Right. Then we get to see the disgusting melting gremlins, and we see all the beautiful effects of the incomparable late, great Rick Baker.
Absolutely. This man...
Well, I can't say what it looks like on television.
Like, he was a fucking genius.
Yes.
Seriously. With
Yes.
all of the creature effects that he's done from his long, lustrous career.
I mean,
he is one of the greatest effects artists
the way that
ever.
he had, like, I mean, the appliances, different things that he did on people's bodies for transformations and things like that. Like, in this, it was all, like, a lot of creature work.
Puppetry and stuff like that.
And creature work, but in his other works, my God, this man was fucking prolific, okay?
Men in Black.
Yeah!
Men in Black.
Yeah! Seriously.
That's the one that pops off at the top of my head because he was actually in it. He was a receptionist at Men in Black headquarters. Talking to an alien and like giving him instructions about, well, you gotta do this, can't go out in the daylight.
Yeah.
But then we see like this spanning across all these different creatures that he created.
Yeah, and we get to see them melt, which is fucking gross in the best way. Like you thought Stripe melting in the first movie was gross. This is that times about 1,000.
At least 150, 200 gremlins.
Actually, according to James A. Janice, there were 450 gremlins.
Oh, he counted it?
His team counted it. He didn't count it.
Yeah,
but,
obviously.
Yeah, his team counted all the... One of the guys from the team counted all the gremlins in that scene. Bonkers. Clamp then comes charging in!
With the SWAT team!
Including Dean Norris, another Breaking Bad person, only to discover that the threat is gone.
No, but not before he slips in the pile of goo.
And he's fine. He's okay.
Clamp, who is thrilled by the outcome of everything, promotes Billy and Kate and gives Fred his own primetime show as a news anchor.
Yeah, and what he does for Billy, though, is he wants him to recreate Kingston Falls.
In New Jersey, of all places.
Why?
Look, no offense to all of our Garden State fans
we love
out
you.
there.
But you know your place is shit.
I mean, it's Jersey. You're across the river, and no.
That's like us talking about Creve Coeur, right?
Yeah, pretty much Creve Tacky.
Yep. Yeah. So then, in the final scene of the movie, Forster calls Clamp to tell him that he is trapped on the highest floor of the building.
Elevators are out.
Yep.
Stairs are blocked.
Yep.
It's going to be a minute before we get up there and get to
And
you.
he's already covered in a bunch of little kissy faces from Miss Greta.
Because apparently Greta's still alive. Which is, I'm still trying to figure that out.
I don't know either.
Because she was down in the lobby.
Yeah, but she must have escaped and gotten back to Forster before they melted everybody. I don't fucking know. But she's the only remaining gremlin, the last of her species. And she sure acts like she's trying to procreate with Mr. Forster, which is... They go fuck.
We do actually get another scene, and it's Kate and Billy and Gizmo in a box, leaving Clamp Tower, and Gizmo's talking about like MTV.
Yeah. He can't wait to get home and watch some TV.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know that's the end of this absolutely
fucking
bonkers
film.
Jinx.
Oh my god.
We didn't have that in the script. That happened on its own. Yeah. This movie was just, it was nuts.
It's so off the chain. It's so absurd that it's no longer a horror film.
No,
really.
not at all. It's got tons of horror references. It's got lots of really gross things that happen, but it's not scary. This movie's fucking hilarious is what it is.
It is funny to note that Gremlins came out in 1984.
Yep.
Before the PG-13 rating, and that got a PG rating. This, which is even more comical with less gore and less violence, got a PG-13 rating.
Rating system changed in that 6 years.
Yeah. I just think it's interesting to point that out.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Bloody Machete up for me. For sure. Straight up Bloody Machete up.
It's hard to give it a Bloody Machete. I love the film. Do not get me wrong. It's hard to give it a Bloody Machete up because it's not horror.
Yeah.
But it is a Bloody Machete up for me as well, too.
It's such a funny movie. It's so good. Like, oh.
The actors are on par. Even the brief cameos that we get from, like, John Astin and stuff like that.
Yep.
The effects. My God, the effects are just
the amount
phenomenal.
of gremlins that those men and women created,
and the individuality that they gave to each
they
gremlin.
all had personalities. Yeah. They were all different in
which
in
was
so
one
many
of the
ways.
stipulations that Rick Baker wanted, because he was given carte blanche to basically create
whatever
them.
he wanted.
Yeah,
which is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely, 100%.
Can't get any better than that. So, yeah, Bloody Machete's up all around.
So we're gonna send this to Kingston Falls.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Kingston Falls.
Get it on out of
Get it
here.
back out.
Oh, I didn't tell that one. Gizmo, you up there? Nope, you're right here. Here, let's hear you sing again. Isn't he just adorable? He's so cute.
How can you not love it?
He's so cute. So, Hallie?
I love, there's a line, too, when Clamp sees Gizmo and says, "You know what I see?"
It's funny, I look at him, you know what I see?
What's that, sir?
Dolls with suction cups staring out car windows.
And you know you can get those. Still.
They do make those.
So, Hallie, what are we doing? Is he ever going to stop?
No, you're going to have to turn him off.
What are we doing next week?
Well, 2025, year of sequels. We're
going
going down that
pressing
road.
on, guys.
We're pressing on, and we are going to wrap
Things
up.
are getting wild.
We're going to wrap up
the Dream sequence.
The Dream trilogy.
Yeah, for sure.
Of A Nightmare on Elm Street.
So, make sure you come back to us next week. Watch this first. We got Dream Child, right? This is Dream Child? Yes, the Dream Child. We did Dream Master last and Dream Warriors before that.
Sorry, we do we talk about so much horror films, it's hard for us to keep track sometimes.
It's hard to remember what order they're in sometimes.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah, come back next week when we finish up the Dream trilogy from A Nightmare on Elm Street. But until then, make sure you slash that subscribe button,
stab that like button,
and ring-a-ling the grave bell so you don't get buried alive and you keep up to date on all the shenanigans we're up to on this channel.
Until then, we will see you all in the afterlife.